The Blood Foundations, the mystery of the Black Jeep. Deep within the dark, unlit provincial roads of Iloilo, a chilling whisper has echoed from the 1970s down to the modern day. It is the legend of the Black Jeep, an unmarked, midnight-colored military vehicle with, completely blacked out, windows that allegedly roams the rural villages under the cover of darkness. According to terrified locals, this vehicle didn't carry soldiers or police. It was operated by faceless men hunting for wandering children. The rumor wasn't just about simple kidnappings. It was tied to a dark, ancient ritual known as Padugo, the terrifying belief that for a modern concrete bridge to withstand the violent river currents, its foundations must be structurally sealed with human blood. I'm an expat living out in the provinces, and you're watching Mysteries of the Philippines. The Law of Padugo. When you travel across the vast highway networks connecting the provinces of Panay, you will cross dozens of massive, modern concrete bridges spanning wide, treacherous rivers. To the modern eye, they are simple marvels of engineering. But beneath the concrete lies a deep-seated cultural dread. The concept of Padugo, or blood priming, is an ancient, pre-colonial superstition that survived into the 20th century. It dictates that spirits guarding the earth must be appeased with a life sacrifice whenever a major structure is built, or the earth will reject the construction, causing the bridge to violently collapse during the next typhoon season. The shadow over Iloilo. In the mid-1970s, the rural barangays of Iloilo experienced a massive wave of panic. Major infrastructure projects, including sprawling highway bridges and large government buildings, were being rapidly greenlit across the Visayas. Almost overnight, elderly provincial survivors recall a sudden shift in the evening atmosphere. Hysteria gripped the communities as rumors spread that a highly elusive, blacked-out vehicle was slipping past the sugarcane fields after twilight. Hysterical mothers began locking their doors before the sun fully set, and the vibrant, laughing night markets of the interior villages suddenly became completely silent and empty. The phantom vehicle. What made the Black Jeep so uniquely terrifying was its near-supernatural ability to evade detection. Local barangay captains who attempted to set up manual checkpoints along the unlit dirt roads reported seeing the distant, dim headlights of a vintage military vehicle approaching through the dust. Yet, as the vehicle drew closer, it would completely extinguish its lights, fading into the absolute blackness of the night. Witnesses claimed that the engine made no sound at all as it passed, just a cold, rushing wind and the distinct, heavy smell of stagnant river, mud and old rusted iron cutting through the humid tropical air. The disappearance of the siblings, the mystery solidified into tragedy with the documented disappearance of the Alcantara brothers in 1976. The two young boys had gone out just after dusk to retrieve a stray water buffalo along the banks of a winding river in a remote municipality. A nearby farmer reported hearing the sudden, sharp crunch of gravel and seeing a massive, dark silhouette idle at the edge of the road. No screams were heard. By the time the village elders organized a search party, the boys were gone. The only evidence left behind in the mud were two distinct sets of heavy, military-grade tire tracks that abruptly stopped at the riverbank, as if the vehicle had driven straight into the deep water. The bridge at midnight. Weeks after the disappearances, a local security guard, working the graveyard shift at a massive bridge construction site nearby, reported a highly disturbing event. At exactly 2 a.m, an unmarked black vehicle drove slowly onto the unsealed concrete deck. The guard watched from the shadows as several tall figures emerged, carrying heavy, wrapped bundles toward the exposed rebar foundations where the main support pillars were scheduled to be poured with fresh concrete at dawn. When the guard called out, the figures instantly vanished back into the vehicle, speeding away into the night without leaving a single footprint behind in the wet cement. The haunting echoes. To this day, the concrete bridges constructed during that specific era carry a dark, paranormal reputation among provincial truck drivers and late-night travelers. Drivers recount crossing these remote river spans at midnight and hearing the distinct, muffled sounds of children crying or scratching at the asphalt from deep inside the concrete pillars below. Engineers have conducting routine inspections on these older bridges and noted highly unusual, localized structural anomalies, strange, dark crimson discolorations bleeding through the ancient concrete sections that completely resist pressure washing and chemical treatments. The dark truth of the regime. Historians and sociologists offer a deeply chilling political explanation for the legend of the Black Jeep. The 1970s marked the height of martial law in the Philippines, an era characterized by intense military presence, forced curfews, and the sudden, unexplained disappearance of political dissidents and activists. In the rural provinces, elite, unmarked military units frequently utilized dark, tint-windowed utility vehicles to conduct highly secretive, late-night operations. To keep the civilian population compliant and terrified of breaking curfews, the regime may have quietly encouraged the spread of the Padugo folklore, transforming a terrifying political reality into a supernatural bogeyman. The psychological shadow. Psychologists also point to the phenomenon of collective hysteria in isolated communities. During times of massive economic change and rapid modernization, traditional provincial life was being violently disrupted by heavy industrial machinery and massive concrete structures, breaking up the ancestral lands. The human mind naturally seeks to process this trauma by projecting its fears onto tangible objects. The ancient fear of the earth spirits demanding blood combined seamlessly with the modern fear of imposing government technology, creating an enduring, terrifying myth of a phantom vehicle that feeds the foundations of progress with the lives of the innocent. The foundations we walk on. Whether the Black Jeep of Iloilo was a genuine, supernatural phantom born from ancient blood rituals, a terrifying manifestation of martial law secrecy operating in the dark corners of the Visayas, or a psychological coping mechanism for a rapidly changing landscape. Its chilling legacy is woven directly into the concrete we drive on today. I always appreciate the incredible progress and modern connections being built across our beautiful provinces out here. But the next time you find yourself driving across a remote, unlit provincial bridge late at night, listen closely to the rhythm of your tires on the road, because some foundations are built on much more than just sand and stone.